Hello, I'm Derek Smalls, and you're watching, or listening, or both, to Rock Shop Live with Eric Broadbent. He's the Bent Broad.
You're watching Rock Shop Live, brought to you by Stewart Travel Guitars. See the incredible stowaway travel guitar at stewartguitars.com. Microphones for Rock Shop Live are provided by Rode Microphones. Now, for Music Gear Network, here's your host, guitarist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday evening to you all. Welcome to a special edition, a live edition of Rock Shop Live. It's going to be a performance, a review, demo, a little bit of look at some things that you don't normally see me do here on the channel because I don't know a lot about them. I don't know a lot about impulse responses. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, having a look at some really, really cool things you can do with either your Helix or any device. It could be, I'm obviously talking about a couple Line 6 devices, could be an HX Stomp, could be, a head rush, could be Boss, whatever device that you have that can accept impulse responses. And for those of you that don't know what impulse responses are, we'll talk about those in a moment. But it's going to be probably about a 60-minute presentation. We'll cap it at an hour, and I'll come over to the chat and say hi to a bunch of you cool people in just a second. But this is something that's really, really cool. Let me see. I'm just going to bring my volume up 1 second. I'm getting a little bit low, so 1 sec. Okay, we should be a little bit better now. A little bit. Hang on. There we go. 1 sec. Okay, there we go. Anyways, we're going to have a look at what these things are, how we found out about the company, and all that kind of fun stuff. And I think, hopefully, if you feel the same way that I do, it's contagious and a lot of fun, inspirational things to be able to, just jam and have fun with something a little maybe outside of your comfort zone. And this was completely outside of my comfort zone because I don't know a lot about impulse responses. I went down that rabbit hole a few times, and sometimes I wanted to come up for air because I got so deep in there I couldn't breathe. But I think you're going to find what we're going to be talking about tonight is going to make things a little bit more comfortable for you and a little less intimidating. All right, so before we get into that, I'm just going to check in the chat here 1 quick second. Say hi to a bunch of you awesome people that are taking your time out of your afternoon, evening, mornings, wherever the case may be. Sean Close is here. Thomas Farrow is here. Kai Down is here. Louis Villarreal is here. Butterfly and Ladybug Show obviously running things great in the chat as always. Let me see here. Continuing down the road, Carlos Santon is here, another one of our moderators and good friends. Helix user as well too. Colin Cartmill is here, and Colin is actually from the company who we're going to be talking about tonight, Infinite Rigs, and it's a fun story how this all come about, and I'm very happy, paths cross with weird ways sometimes, so we're going to talk about that, but thank you, Colin, for jumping in as well, and it's late. He's over in the UK, so it's about 11 o'clock his time, so thank you very much for staying up late for this. David Ennis is here, Jeremy Carter's here, let me see here, Will Dunham is here as well too. Enitanello Budva is here. Hello. Hi, Eric from Italy. Rob F. is here. Brad Miller, good day, everybody. Let me see. Let me scroll down to the bottom a little bit more. Jason Wade is just jumping in. Here we go. Awesome. Guitar Man 45 is here as well, too. Scott Roos, I almost missed you, and I'm so very sorry. All right. I am Never Too Late is here. Curious how you like these compared to stock cabs. And that's a very, very good one. Larry, we're going to talk about that in a second. And I'm going to highlight where your comment is so I can find where we left off. And it's really cool because I'm not the IR guy normally. And I think this could be fun for two reasons. Number one, I'm not an expert when it comes to impulse responses. Number two, I'm a stock cab guy, so I need to be really wowed by an impulse response because I really like stock cabs. And I think you're going to find that tonight. Let me see here. And also just because Pooh's popping in here, Pooh Ninja's here. Lateware, hey everybody, nice to have you. So I'm going to highlight where he is. Brad Miller's jumping in. Holy cow, where everyone's coming in now. Awesome. Nice to have you here. This is going to be a short presentation, probably 60 minutes. So let's jump over here in a second, and we're going to have a look at the Infinite Rigs website. But before we do that, I'll kind of share a little story. So this goes back about a month. I'm going to say maybe a month. If I looked back in my Facebook messages, it might be even a month and a half. But we'll just say a month for argument's sake. And Colin from Infinite Rigs reached out to me through Facebook and said, hey, we've got a new company just, kind of starting out, whatever. We're, making some really cool, we think they're really, really cool IRs, impulse responses, off some of the world's greatest cabinets and some of the guitar heroes that we all admire, from Eddie Van Halen to George Lynch and everywhere in between. And would you like to maybe possibly do a demo and review on the impulse responses? And my first honest reply back was, I don't think I'm your guy. You know, like because I don't know a lot about, you know, I'm aware of impulse responses. I have some. I've purchased some from some big companies, small companies. I've used free ones everywhere in between. And I talked about that rabbit hole. And you can go down this rabbit hole with IRs, and I'll tell you what can happen with that. There's so many different things that can happen with different impulse responses depending on the manufacturer. They can give you so many choices that at the end of the day, by the time you've gone through all these different choices, your ears have just given up, and they just don't know what you like anymore. It's almost like, you know, for the graphic designers that may be in the house here, you know, if you're going through you're trying to make a nice logo font or a logo using a font, and you find a font that looks really cool. And what I tend to do is I tend to write down on a piece of paper, just like I did with these impulse responses, what fonts I like. So I got 4 fonts that I like. But let's just say you've got 200 or 300 fonts on your computer. Eventually, if you didn't write that down, you forgot what font was cool. And you just like, oh man, I just feel like giving up. Same thing can happen with impulse responses. So I'll kind of share my thoughts on how I found the favorites I had. And with Infinite Rigs, they give you maybe necessarily, I don't want to say necessarily, but you have less choices what's sent to you in the files as opposed to having 6 million and only 2 or 3 of those are good. 75 to 85% of the files that were sent to me from each package I loved. So that's a good ratio for turnover on what you have there. So I want to make sure I haven't missed anybody else. I will say hi to a few people because I don't want them to be left out. Gary Holt is jumping in as well too. Thank you so much. Joe Hervey is here. Thomas Maynard is here. Thank you very, very much. Ladybug is here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. R2R3 is here. Thank you, buddy, and thank you for jumping in. It's going to be kind of a fun conversation this evening. Okay, so he reached out to me and said, "Would you like to try these impulse responses?" And I was very polite and said, "I don't think I'm the guy for you. I'm not the all-knowing burrito when it comes to impulse responses." But he says, "Tell you what, let me just send them to you. If you like them, cool. If you don't, that's equally cool as well too." And so I said, "Okay, great." So he sent me 2 packages. He sent me a hard rock package and also a Van Halen, they call it, I think the brown. We'll have a look in a second. I'll show it on the screen. And kind of modeling 2 different eras of Van Halen speakers. Obviously from, back in from 78 forward, when Eddie's using the Marshall, the old 1960, Marshall cabinet, up until the second package is, I would assume, built off of the PV5150s and things like that as well too. So there's 2 different packages of impulse responses. And then we've got a hard rock. I had a lot to choose from. He wanted me to try the EVH Brown sound type impulses. But he said, "Do you want to try something else?" And I could have picked a la carte from everything, but I was like, you know what? I got to limit myself here because I don't have a lot of time. But I want to do this and give it a fair shake. And thank you, Thomas Mader, just $10 super chat. Thank you. That's beautiful. I appreciate that. And I thought, looking at all the presets that he had, and I say presets, if I say presets tonight, please excuse that and superimpose the word impulse responses. I saw hard rock, and I'm a hard rock guy. I like that. So I thought, let's go with that. So he sent me those 2 packages. We're going to look at those completely tonight. So let's jump over to the website for a quick second here before we do that. And I'll say, yep, she's a little bit delayed here. Okay, one sec. Let's go over to webcam here. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to grab my iPad for some notes here. So some people, believe it or not, don't know what an impulse response is. And until a few years ago, I didn't know what that was. You tell some people IRS, like IRs, and they think it's like the IRS, right? It's like tax people. No, it's not that. It's an impulse response. And for the average person, I'm going to give you a non-technical term. What an impulse response is to look at it almost like a pulse of your body. When you have a pulse on your body, it reacts differently with you than it reacts with your person sitting next to you, right? It's kind of, there's a reaction and a reaction, all right? And the same thing happens with an impulse response. With the way I described it was very, very basic. But let's go to a technical explanation here. And this is, credit goes to guitargearfinder.com. I just wanted to have a real technical information, a technical description I could read to you. And they say an impulse response, IR for short, is a way you can capture the qualities of a guitar amp and speaker, microphone, and the room, and recreate it almost perfectly in the studio or for live performances. Impulse responses are different from cabinet simulators, and they tend to produce more realistic results. Most professional guitarists would struggle to identify the differences between a recording of a guitar amp and an impulse response. They're that good. I'm just going to jump back over for a quick second to this screen. And the way I put a little footnote on that as well, too, Think of it as a DNA snapshot of everything that goes into that. So we have our cabinet. We might be in a real nice controlled room one day. We might be and maybe it's carpeted walls, carpeted floors. All the acoustic treatments. Next day we're in a basement. And that sound from that amplifier, as you know, I mean, you touring musicians, clubbing musicians know that sometimes your cabinet sounds like awesome at one gig, and then you go to the next one and it sounds like crap. You got delay bouncing off the walls at the back, and just there's so many variables that change from time to time to time. When you get an impulse response created by a professional creator, and I look at Infinite Rigs as one of these very, very professional creators, a lot goes into it. Proper microphones, proper controlled environments, good speakers, a good player on the guitar. There's just so many things that go into those scenarios to make a good impulse response. But once you get a good one, now that good gig that you had on a Wednesday and it sucked on a Friday, that good gig Wednesday can translate everywhere you go, because you've got an impulse response now, not having to bring your Marshall cabinet or your Mesa cabinet or your 212 Vox or a 15-inch JBL or any of those things, because nowadays we just can't travel like that. It's too expensive. A lot of us don't have those vehicles. I couldn't put that in my Camaro, but I can put a lot of impulse responses in my Helix and my Camaro. All right, so let's jump back over to that website, because I want to read you a little bit about some of the stuff on their site. Here we go. We are back. So infiniterigs.com. I'm very, very happy that they reached out to me, and I'm hoping that this will suffice as a good demo for them as well too, because I'm not the IR guy. I'm a stock cab guy per se, but I'm getting very inspired and having a lot of fun with these impulse responses, to the point where I played a lot of guitars this week, maybe more so than I have in a while, because I really wanted to get into the center of these things and see what they can do, see what they can't do. And I'm telling you, I'm very pleased. Did I like every single one? 100%. I did not like every single one. But like I said earlier at the top of the program, the amount that comes to you in a file, the ratio of what I like to dislike was very high. I liked a lot of these presets. Impulse responses. Sorry, please don't confuse me with when I say presets. I think by now you get it. But I even told Colin as well back and forth through Facebook, I said, I am very pleasantly surprised with how many of these I like. And I went back, I'm making notes after the ones that I liked. My ear still told me I like the ones that I marked down. So very, very cool. So infiniterigs.com, if we click on products, you've got all kinds, everything from blues pack, infinite pig pack, like pig nose, obviously you can tell how they're modeled after. Seattle pack, all the grunge era, I'm assuming. There's our brown that we're going to be talking about tonight. I love that. Majestic rock, scary shred, we can probably guess who that is. This one here, Mystic Martian pack. I'm assuming we're looking at a Steve Vai package there. Now those are some of the signature ones, and then generic. Okay, we're going to go into the genres type here. We have a lot of the ones I just showed you: classic rock, hard rock. All right, and I believe that's the one I have here. We're going to be going through tonight. We'll go back again for a second. All right, let's go back to products, and we'll go to the signature packs. Okay, so there we go. We've got brown, which is based off of Eddie Van Halen, of course, the Majestic, and Scary Shred, and Mystic Martian. So we have a lot to choose from, and of course, there's other stuff on here as well too. This is what's very, very cool too. This is something I should address. As it says on the website, pro hint: each pack has several IR variants of each cabinet, and very, very simple. UK indicates dynamic microphone, while USA indicates condenser microphone. The variants offer very subtle but significant frequency emphasis. Selecting the right one to complement your amp or modular tone will save you frantically knob twiddling of any potentially changing your amp or modular tone, feel, and response. Spend less time tweaking and more time creating awesome tonal tracks. Can jump back here for a second, and that's what I'm all about here on the channel. I don't profess to be an expert on anything. I'm not even an expert on Helix. Never said I was, never will be, but I'm learning fast with Helix in the Helix community. They're great people, and I'm learning to spend less time twiddling things and more time playing and having fun. I found that right away with these impulse responses. And we're gonna jump right into them here in just a second and actually have a listen. I've created a few presets just for this. And the really cool thing is, Colin over at Infinite Rigs was very, very kind to offer us a couple giveaways tonight. And actually, said, would you like to give some away as prizes? And I said, sure, that'd be great. How about 2 packs? He goes, I can give you more. I'm like, wow. I didn't want to be greedy. I was happy to have 2 packs to give away. So we're going to have 4 packages to give away. And how this is going to work tonight is no bells or whistles or any hoops or blah, blah, blah. All I ask is that you be subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, if you're new here, the cliche here I say all the time, and it's gospel, is I will work just as hard to keep you as a subscriber as I did to get you as one. So subscribe. Like this video. And tonight when the show's over, it's going to be over by about 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, over in 45 minutes from now. A few minutes after that, usually takes 10, 15 minutes for it to be processed, and then you can comment on the video. Just throw a comment on the video, and here's what I ask too. If you don't have a device that allows you to import IRs, there's no real sense commenting because you won't be able to use them. Maybe you don't have one today. Maybe you're picking up a Helix on the weekend. Then go ahead. If you're planning on getting a device in the immediate near future that can load IRs, then please feel free to go ahead and you can comment. One comment per person, and just say what you thought about today's presentation. That's all you have to say. And by next Friday, we'll draw. We'll have 4 random winners by random comments. And I'll get in touch with you, get your email addresses, or you get in touch with me, vice versa. I'll funnel that off to Colin, and we'll have some prizes sent to you digitally through email, okay? And there's end-user license agreements and stuff like that come along with it, too. So they obviously remain the property of Infinite Rigs, but you can use it as long as it's on your device for life. So it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm happy to give those away. And it was very kind of Colin to offer those. And also, tag him in the chat if you have any technical questions, because a lot of the technical questions I probably can't answer. I can at least tell people how I put them in Helix and things like that. You can see the power cabs behind me as well, too, the Line 6 power cabs. Those will load impulse responses as well, too. So I could technically even put these on there and free up a block. Let's say, and this is what's really cool, right? So let's say Stomp, HX Stomp, you're limited to 6 blocks on there compared to what you can do on Helix. And I've got some really cool presets. Nocturnal Butterfly will share some links throughout the program today where some of my presets for this device and Helix devices are up on Marketplace. But with Stomp, there's only 6 blocks. So if I really wanted to get the most out of Stomp and I have the power cab, I could just put an amp block in here, whatever it may be, whatever amp I like, whether it be the Rev, Placator, maybe Angle, all my favorite high gain amplifiers. And I'll stick on the Infinite Rigs speaker IR on my power cab. And so, I mean, there you go. I freed up a block, and now I've got the speaker sound that I want. So very, very cool. If I happen to miss anything, if there's a question for me, just be sure to tag me, Music Gear Network. And if it's a big-time technical question, maybe tag me and also Colin as well, too. Colin. His name will pop up. Bobby Clipper is here as well. Guitar Hack is here. Thank you so very, very much. Carlos says he's using a SM57 and I pulled 6 inches off the cab. Usually good with that. That's pretty cool. That works cool. Alex Radford. I tend to go 57 a lot on my cabs, and I tend to be right up to the grill. But thanks to Jason Seditis as well, too, I've really embraced ribbon microphones as well, too. Let me see here. James Severin is here as well, too. Griffin Guitar. Have you a chance to play the Laney active guitar cab? No, I have not. No, I don't frequent music stores too often anymore because I don't have gas for gear anymore. It's with Helix and power cabs and stuff like that has killed gas for me. It's like better than Rolaids. That's a different kind of gas, but still, I was going to go to a music store today, pick up drumsticks for Junior. They were closed. That'd be probably the only time I'd be in a music store in the past few weeks. Gary Holt, impulse response is when someone jumps out at you and you punch them in the nose. Very, very true. Okay, I think I'm pretty much caught up with everybody. Let's jump over to another screen where I've got HX Edit, which is for those of you that have Helix at home, or Stomp or HX Effects or anything like that. You're familiar with HX Edit, which is a Helix editor. We'll jump over here, and I've got some presets. Okay, so I'm going to reference my iPad again, too, because I made some notes of the numbers where I brought in my presets. Again, I shouldn't say presets, impulse responses. Every time I say presets, when I mean impulse responses, I'm going to have to put a loonie, which is a Canadian coin, in a little jar. And then probably by the end of the night, I could probably buy 3 or 4 more of these packs. Okay, so I made notes, and this is pretty darn good. Out of the cab 1, which I'm going to show you in a second, which is the brown, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 impulses that I love. And also on cab 2, there's 4 that I love. Coming out of about 9 or 10 of them that are sent, or 8 to 10, I think it's a very, very good ratio. And when I say I didn't like the other ones, I just loved these. These were my favorites. There was nothing that was a throwaway for me. It was just, these were just my favorites. So I'm going to jump over, put some headphones on, all right? And let's get some sound happening. Tonight's guitar of choice is going to be a USA PV Wolfgang. Make sure I can hear myself. All right, there we go. Got a good volume in the headphones. And I want you to know, too, that this has been a lot of fun. And if a little piece of advice, I try to say this a lot in the show, get out of your comfort zone as often as you can. And impulse responses, to me, are like that. So when I first got Helix, I was the stock cab guy right out of the get-go. Right off the first day I brought Helix home, I was a stock cab guy. I didn't know anything about impulse responses. And then I went down this rabbit hole, like I said earlier, and usually in some other manufacturers' impulse responses, you'll get like a whole list. It'll be samples of using a SM57, a ribbon mic, a 421 condenser, so many things, on axis, off axis, dark, all this stuff. And like I say, you start playing, and you could spend 2 or 3 hours listening to these impulse responses as you're chugging along on your guitar. And eventually you just get so ear fatigued that you just, and then you get frustrated. You don't even want to do it anymore. Now, you can take it. There's some free impulse responses out there that are pretty decent, and there's some really expensive ones, and everywhere in between. Just like anything in life, you get what you pay for, and sometimes even free is good. But I found with these guys over at Infinite Rigs, they make a good product, a really, really good product, to the point where, I'm going to use them. Even though I'm still a stock cab guy, probably will be for quite some time. I see practical uses for this. And I enjoy it greatly. So let's get a guitar tone happening. I think we're plugged in. I'll unmute Helix, which is probably on this channel. Well, I got lots of beef in the ears. All right, let's see what we're at. I think we're on the rock pack right now, too. So we're going to go back just for a second, and we're going to look at, we're on the rock package. Let me see here. Hard rock. Yes, we are, because we're on the hard rock package. And if you look at that, I mean, the price is not that bad whatsoever. $9.95, taxes included. Now, I believe Colin can confirm, but I believe that is U.S. dollars. That's kind of like the international currency. I'm pretty sure on that. But as you see in the package, I'm only going to be reviewing one portion of the package as well, too. You get a rhythm package and you get a lead package. And I didn't even get a chance to go through the lead package yet. I did the Brown that we're going to be talking about tonight, Van Halen. I went through both packages and made serious notes on that one. On the rhythm, as you can see, you get UK on axis balanced, bright, dark. Off axis, balanced, bright, dark, balanced, and bright. And my findings, I didn't realize I enjoyed more so the dark sound of the speaker. I thought I was more of a bright guy. That's funny. I'm not a bright guy. But you know what I'm trying to say. I thought I was more of the bright tone. I like that. But dark, 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 dark. On all these presets, I tend to like the most. Impulse responses, Looney in the jar. All right, there we go. All right, so let's have a look here. And as you can see, I've made a very simple preset. And I mean, maybe not simple for some people, but it is simple in today's standards. I've got a wah pedal. I've got a distortion pedal. I have an amplifier I'm using the placator. I have the Kinky Boost, which I like to have when I had my 5150 amps. I don't even own amplifiers anymore. I don't use them. I just use all digital. I would use the exotic EP booster in the loop. I love that pedal. Now we have, obviously, an Infinite Rigs impulse response. We have my dual pitch control, dual pitch to give you that balanced detune, effect. Delay, reverb, and I have a nice compressor at the end as a nice little bit of a mastering suite. And that's my comfort effects, I would say. That's what I tend to say a lot, my comfort effects, reverb and delays. So right now we're on hard rock, and let me have a look at the numbers here. Let's go back. I'm going to use, what I've done here is I've clicked on an HX Edit here. I should be able to tab down with my arrows on my keyboard. Okay, there we go. Let's go back till it disappears. Okay. So if I didn't have it, you'd hear it, which sounds like a blown speaker, because technically your speaker is blown. You don't have an impulse response or a cab on your preset, so it would sound like this. I'm trying to be really quiet because that's going to be really spiking you. It sounds like a blown speaker because there's nothing there. Okay, so we're going to jump up into the first of the rhythm of the hard rock. Okay. Nice gain. And I'll just play some simple chords here for a minute, and we're gonna just use the arrow keys just to go up. Big change already, see that? There we go. We're getting darker now. I like that. Oddly enough, when I would do my 5150s and stuff like that, I would dime my mids. This sounds more like a bit of a scooped mids, but I still like it. Okay, let's keep it going. Now keep in mind, this is the hard rock pack. Continue on. A little brighter. See, that's a little shrill from my ears. That one I'm not as crazy about, but so far up to that one I've loved. Now we're getting back dark a little bit again. Keep it going. I'm going to try this in conjunction with a song in a second as well, too. Have some material down beneath so you can see how it fits so nicely in the mix. And that's a little bright for me right there. A little bright for me right there, too, but still maybe right for your ears. Okay. There we're getting closer to my wheelhouse again. We should have a couple more left. Okay, and that's it. So that's all of that package and the rhythm. Now I haven't gone through, like I mentioned, with the lead, and we'll probably do that on another show, maybe a live broadcast, when it won't be a dedicated review, but we'll use them for some fun. So let's go back and find one of those first ones that I found that I liked the most. I think, okay, let's go back up. Okay, that's it right there. Let's cue up a song, and we're going to play along with that, and then we're going to go over and have a look at the EVH Brown impulse responses. I saved myself a loonie there for the jar. See that? I got it. All right. And I will make sure I try to get any questions. Again, too, if there's any technical questions or show-related questions, tag me, Music Gear Network. Or if there's technical questions about the impulse responses, what they can or cannot do, please be sure to tag Colin here as well, too. And Carlo says, sounds good so far. I appreciate that. Thank you for the valuable feedback, Carlo, because it helps tremendously. Okay, in a second, I'm going to mute my microphone here. I may have to just adjust a tiny, tiny bit for the levels here between songs. And all I've done for this preset, I didn't create a snapshot. All I'm going to do is pop on a distortion pedal for the lead, and we'll see how that works. But you get to hear how these impulse responses work in the place of a stock cabinet in the mix. Okay, here we go.
This is all we can make.
It's so funny, the voice to text. I'm getting voice to text messages from Sandra here, and it's not translating, but a very good question from Carlo saying, can you A-B? And what I could maybe do, let me see here. We could do this. Okay, so let's bring the delay over here. Okay, let's kill that one. All right, and let's pop in a stock cab. Oh, you know what? Hang on. All right, this might be tricky here. You know what we can try to do here? Let's do this. All right, cab. And I'm going to use what I normally would use. I'm going to use a 412 greenback 20. Okay. All right, so we can try this. Let's see how we got here. So now we got... So there's my cab I would use on a regular basis. I wish I could put it on that same path, but I've got too many things using DSP. So there's the stock cab, and I'll play that same riff. And I should put it up in the same path, but you'll get it. All right, turn it back off. Is that one off? Yes, it is. I think the IR sounds actually much better. And I got a dual pitch on there too, so I'm going to bring that back off just so you can hear more of the raw amp, the speaker. And there you go. All right, I'm going to try one more song with that, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff here as well too. So let's bring that delay back where we had it. Matter of fact, if I just reload the actually this is in this case a preset. Okay, so I'm going to try something in a drop D, give some more chunk. Remember that little trick I always told you guys, that if you run out of fine tuner on your guitar, see, I can't go any more with my tune. I'm out of tune, so I got to stretch my E string without breaking it. Now I can fine tune it. Perfect. There you go. A little tick. Okay, we try another one, a real heavy one, and this should give some chunk and give some real dynamic to what we have in the preset. So let's go back over to it again just to show you. Let's go back over to the other screen, and we're doing good on time, 6:32 Eastern Standard Time. I love it. Okay, HX edit. All right, so if you look at the impulse response, there it is right there. Low cut set to off. Everything is pretty much, dead normal. All right, so we'll leave it just like that. Not going to change anything else. Go back over to this screen here. Load up another song with some chunk. And the Griffin guitarist asking if it's standard tuning. No, I'm always a half step down for all my non-Helix, I should say, Variax guitars. The Variax guitars are all tuned to standard -1. We have identical shurikens back there. That's the one on the furthest side. That is a 270, a baritone shuriken. And these two here, I tune one down half step. All my other guitars are down half step as well. And then in this case, half step down plus drop D. So here we go. And I'm really liking that rawness. I really do. This is not normally the sound I was playing here on the show. And I'm digging it. It's very, I find it beefy. And I can't wait to show you the Van Halen stuff. It's, for the Van Halen fans, pretty damn cool. You combine the impulse responses from Infinite Rigs and, some of your favorite settings for Van Halen, or buy one of my presets at Marketplace, and I tell you got the best of both worlds, no pun intended. That was a good joke, though. All right, here we go. We try one more. Nice chunky one. I'm telling you, the vibe is there in my headphones. I'm using really cheap AKG headphones. The bass response sucks on this, but even right now, I'm still feeling the mojo. There's been times where I've been playing and I'm not feeling the bass response or something out of my headphones. I just don't get that mojo as compared to the reference monitors, and it feels really, really good. I'm hoping you guys dig it, because it's something I was so far in my comfort zone with impulse responses, and I'm actually really glad that Colin reached out to me, because I may have not have ever tried these. I may not have heard of them, and it's nice. It's really, really it's just really responsive, and I dig it. Very, very easy, and it's something I could see myself potentially staying right here with the impulse responses. Now, there are some stock cabs, as you saw me playing a few minutes ago, playing the 412 20 watt. I like that a lot, and I probably still use that from time to time. But I can see now with some of the new riffs I've been writing, the tones I'm hearing in my ears, that these impulse responses just may find their way into the mix. So that's just a little bit of the hard rock. All right, we're still doing good on time, 6:38 here. Let's jump over here in a second. I'm going to go back to the website for a sec, and I'm hoping you're enjoying this so far. I'm really having a good time with you, and it's been a lot of fun preparing this. And I was playing this afternoon too. I was doing some Van Halen jams, and I haven't been playing a lot of Van Halen lately. That's probably why I brought out the Wolfgang tonight, as opposed to the beautiful, beautiful Les Paul over there. We have an arrangement tonight. She knows I'm not leaving her. She's just put aside for a little bit. So that's Cherry Rue back there. By the way, she has a name. This one is Black Rue, and I traded her for a black girl. I have a black girl now. Anyways, we're going to continue on here for a second. Go over to the website. Where is that screen? Here it is. Okay, and we're going to go over to the products. I'm going to go to the signature. Okay, and we're going to bring up Brown. So I'm going to read this one more time to you. Hot for tone. This pack contains 2 specifically voiced cabs. Both cabs are intended for rhythm and lead tones. Cab 1 is based upon a UK 412 to enhance Brown-style tones heard in 78. Cab 2 is based upon a USA 412 to enhance Brown tone heard in the 90s. This cab has more of the light end tightness, often referred to as cab resonance, or sometimes presence for the low end. And that's a great analogy of that. As you know, in some of the new amplifiers, especially in the 5150s as well too, you have a resonance control where you can really tune in that low end presence. So very, very cool. We are going to sample some of that. And so for that, let's go back to HX Edit, and we're going to open up one of my old presets. You know what? I just put my computer into sleep. I hate that. I've got a hotkey on my computer, so hopefully we're still good. I got to turn off that hotkey or hot corner. Geez, that's the first time I've done that live in the air. Okay, we're good. I don't think it interrupted the broadcast. Okay, so now we've got something like this. I'm going to get rid of the drop D. I want to go back to... So there you go. This is not a preset. This is not a preset that you'd want to use on doing some death metal, or as Derek Smalls would say, if you're in a near death metal band, this preset is not for you, but it works for old school Van Halen. So we take this preset, which is available up on Marketplace as well too on line 6, and we're using Infinite Rigs. Oh man, this is great. So what I've chose here as my starting point, let me see. It's going to be labeled different. It's Cab 1 UK off, and I believe it's probably dark. But it doesn't really matter which one it's actually called. It comes in that kit anyways. You'll have it inside one of 2 cabinets. So I'll give you a couple of little samples. I'm not going to play a ton of Van Halen, obviously for copyright issues and things like that, but I'll give you a bit of some familiar sounds to see what you can get with this. Now, keep in mind, this is extremely wet, lots of reverb, tiny bit of slap back on there. I'm trying to get to really duplicate that or replicate that plate reverb back from the very first album, things like that. We'll have some fun with this, and we'll see. This preset's been used before. There's been another fellow that did a 3-hour review on this, and he kind of tore this preset apart. But I don't think he probably doesn't know how to play Van Halen, so that's probably the reason for the bad review. But nonetheless, let's hop in here right now, and I'm going to give you a little bit of Van Halen using Infinite Rigs in the Brown pack. So that kind of gives you an idea as well too. Very, very wet. And Eddie didn't have a ton of gain back in those days. It was basically cascading gain, amplifier on full, crank, and it sounds like the amplifier is on the edge of blowing up. And with this sample, this impulse response of that cabinet. It just sounds absolutely amazing. Jump over to the camera here for a quick second. And of course, we're talking extreme reverbs, but if this was in a mix of something, it would sound totally, totally fit in there. No gain, hardly any gain. I could pop on a bit of an overdrive, just give it a bit more sustain. So there you go, giving you that old vintage Van Halen. It can work with so many things, right? Turn off that phaser. All right, let's jump over to a bit more modern stuff. I hope you like that. We're going to jump over here to VH55, and this is using, let's have a quick look over here as well, too. Go back to, and Thomas Farrell says, can you play Drop Dead Legs? I don't know that one very well anymore, and I'd hate to play too much of it to actually get copyright flags here. We want to keep it as copyright clear as possible. Let's go over to HX Edit. Okay, so now what we've got here, let's turn off my pitch to tune first, because that can sometimes, it's almost like an accent on top of everything, and I don't want to, give it all at one time, right? I want to kind of surprise you. So this would be more of the Sammy Hagar era, and this would be based off of, some of the PV5150s, those cabinets, and that's where a lot of the tone came, where inspiration came from. All right, so on this one, I did make notes of the numbers I like here. So this is cab 2, all right? And on cab 2, I've written down four impulse responses that I really like. So let's go through those right now. All right, I'm going to back it up. I'm going to click on here on HX Edit so I can go back to the very first one. All right, so hang on. All right, there we go. So it's empty. So here's the very first one. A little bright, little shrill. A very nice comment too. Jason Witt says, if you have a Helix native HX Stomp or XFX, Music Gears Network's presets on Line 6 Marketplace are really great and very usable. I have them and love them. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that was a Freudian slip. I called my show the old show name. Okay, so that's a little bright for me. Okay, let's continue up. That one's very bright. And number 90, it's called 91 on mine. That's where I've labeled it at in my slots. 91 was the first one on my on my iPad. They're right here. You probably can't read that, but number 91 was the first one I labeled that I really liked. 91, 94, 95, 97. Okay, continue up. 92. A little bright. We're at 94. Yeah, 94 is one of the ones I wrote down. You can tell I really like those beefy ones. Let's go up a little bit more. That's a little bright, 95. And 96. 97 is the next one that I said I loved. That works. Let's go back to number 91 and let's play a little bit of a riff. Let's pop on the pitch detune, which will give us a little bit of that pitch detune, right? Like a separation. Wet, dry, wet is what I was looking for. There you go. So you've got some older Van Halen, everything from the first album through basically 1984, and then maybe a tiny bit of OU812, a little bit of that kind of stuff with the one particular cab inside the brown sound package, the brown package. And then you've got this other cabinet that is modeled after everything moving forward. I think you could easily use it right up until, the most recent tours and things like that as well, too. Let me see. And Carlos asked me if that's a PV Panama on that patch. I think I'm using the Rev. Let me see. It might be PV Panama. Actually, it is. And actually, Carlo, I think you have this preset. This is it may be labeled different. Yeah, it's labeled differently right now for the demo, but this is actually part of the Pasadena Complete package. This would be normally called the Van Halen Driving 55. The only thing different here now is I'm using the Infinite Rigs impulse response, replacing the stock cab. And so there you go. And I'm going to use one of these more modern Van Halen ones here again, too, with one more song here. We're going to be wrapping up here in 10 minutes. And I also want to note as well, too, thanks to our beautiful Butterfly and Ladybug for helping here in the chat. Check out her name and go to her channel, Hers and Ladybugs. They have shows every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so usually around 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They're a lot of fun. Sometimes have a headphone in if you're at work because it can be a little unsafe for work sometimes, but it's great humor, lots of fun. Also, a reminder as well, too, before we get too carried away, keep in mind that we are giving away 4 sets of these presets, and I'm sure we can work out which ones you want, whatever. We're going to have people, after the video is done tonight, comment on the video, just tell me your thoughts, what you thought about the show tonight, or maybe what you think of impulse responses. If you're new to them, never tried them, whatever you want to do, just give me a nice comment. As long as it's not a hateful comment, throw it down on the comments down below. And by next Friday, we'll draw by random 4 winners. We'll put you in touch with Colin over at Infinite Rigs, and we'll get you some of these phenomenal impulse responses. I'm very, very happy he reached out to me. Again, I'm a novice when it comes to impulse responses, and it was good. And I kind of learned on the fly, and I think sometimes that is some of the best ways to do it. I really do. I think it's one of the best ways. I think I saw, let me see, Mitch Heyman jumped in. Phil Mosley jumped in as well, too. Alex Radford. I didn't want to overlook you fellows. Thank you so much for jumping in. Ladybug's here. Awesome. Throw a 1 in the chat if you found this was a little bit informative, if you enjoyed it. Throw a 2 in the chat if you didn't enjoy it. You can also express that with likes and stuff down below as well, too. But I'd love to see, as I'm getting ready to wrap up here in the next 10 minutes, if 1s mean you enjoyed it, and give me some good feedback and maybe even some mojo for the next couple songs here. All right, so what we'll do is we'll stay on this Van Halen one with the more modern. I'm just going to add maybe just one more beefy speaker here. Let's change it from 91 to, I think it was 95. Whoops, got to do this here again. 1 second. I think it was 91 was the one. There we go. All right, awesome. I see lots of 1s. I'm loving that. Thank you. That means a lot to me. The total vibe. I love it. Thank you so very much. And this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for calling over at Infinite Rigs. Again, show the website again for a second. The link is in the description down below as well, too. And, of course, Sandra's been sharing that quite often as well, too. So infiniterigs.com. It's amazing. I'm really, really happy with these guys. It's been a fun experience. Okay, we're going to queue up a song called Fantasy. Some of you know it by other names. I'm going to play 2 more songs for you, and we'll make that a wrap. Let everybody fly. No pun intended. And that's one of my songs as well, too. But my findings, I actually made some notes here. I'll read my findings before we continue on, because we'll wrap up with the performance. So, okay, and I'm literally reading here because I want to make sure I convey my thoughts how they hit me when I was making notes earlier. As noted, I am not an IR guy per se. I found great vibe and tone from each of these. As pointed out, not every single one was for me, but I found at least 4 or 5 models per set. Awesome. And of course, that's going to be like that. I mean, if we're in the studio and, your engineer or your buddy or whoever is sticking a mic on your cabinet, you may not like the 57 like this. You might like it on the cone, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely not every single one's going to work for you. That's the same when it comes to impulse responses. So that's why I found 4 or 5 of each one I liked, and they hit me, they floored me. So continuing on with what I said, I found 4 or 5 models per set awesome. Going back to these again and again over the course of a month or so, my findings remain the same. These numbers that I wrote down is where they are in slots on my Helix, and I can kind of show you that. If I go back to HX Edit for a second, and I click on impulses at the top, okay, I've got quite a few impulse responses. I've got some purchased Celestian ones, the EVH ones. You can maybe see them there. And then I scroll way down, and I put them in different blocks so it'd be easy to get to. So here's our Infinite rigs here. That's the hard rock ones. I skipped some. And then I put another batch here. I'm highlighting with my mouse. That is Cab 2 of the vintage, of Van Halen, the brown package. And then here's Cab 1. And I just separated them so it'd be easier for me to see. So they're not going to be the same numbers when you put them into your Helix or your device. Depends on what slots you have free. So I just referred to, okay, I like 91, I like 92, that kind of thing, just for reference. Okay. All right. So let's go over here and continue with my findings. Price is very affordable. I think much more affordable than some other brand name IRs I've purchased in the past. And there again, too, like I'm new to this. I've only purchased one other set. Customer service, speaking with the Infinite Rig staff for the better part of a month. They've been super helpful, informative, and I can see the passion that they have for their products. And that's true. There's been a lot of fun conversation. And you can detect that right away. You can tell if someone's just in the business to make a buck, or if they're they really have a vested interest in their product, and they do. And lastly, my final point is just I highly recommend that you check these out. And there's little SoundCloud samples on the website as well too. So if we go back again for a quick second, let's just click on the Blues Pack for a sec. Get on that website so you can see it. Okay, let's just click on one of these, and for each package that there's little SoundCloud samples as well too. Like I could probably play one for a quick second here, and you probably hear it. I love it. And it's a very good question from Frag5150. Would these work with TH3, THU? Colin, can you please comment on that? Because I don't want to give the wrong answer. If it takes IRs, I don't have that software, so I don't know. So he can comment on that. Mitch actually says, I was actually working on Van Halen sound before you came on, and Unchained sound, which I really can't get. I'll be very, very happy to help you with that as well too, Mitch. I can point you in the right direction. Let me see here. And thank you, Jason, as well, too, for sharing some links throughout the program. That's really appreciated. Very, very nice. And Lewis has to take off, no problem. So we have enough time here, just enough time to get in 1 or 2 more songs using the same preset with the same impulse response. And I wasn't wrong that time because I said preset and impulse response because that's exactly what I was referring to. So here we go, all right? If we have time, we will do 2 songs. If not, it's just going to be just the one. All right. Some units require a different format, such as Kemper. There you go. Thank you, Colin. And Colin has the definitive answer, so always ask him as well, too. And if you have any pre-sale questions, just reach out through the website, and I know he'll be more than happy to address any of your technical pre-sale questions. And follow-up, too.
One night you taste it sweet, one night on your knees.
there we go. And we are right at the 6:59 or 7 o'clock Eastern Time hour. So I'm not going to play anymore. I'd rather end on a note and talk about the most important thing, not about my playing, is actually about the impulse responses themselves. Infinite Rigs. We have the link here, infiniterigs.com. Go back to the website one more time. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have this experience. I was honored to be asked to do this. And I hope I didn't, fall flat on my face, because I'm not an impulse response guy by trade, as I said, by nature. But I'm starting to gravitate towards it. I like the fact that we don't have a million to choose from when you get these impulse responses. You just get to work right away. More time playing and less time, turning knobs, as Colin says, as well too. So let's go back to the performance cam here just for a quick second so I can see you. There we go. Awesome. I had a lot of fun doing this. I was jamming earlier today. As Nocturnal Butterfly could tell you, she could hear me rocking down here from upstairs. She could hear it. Quite loud jamming all this week using these things, and it's been a lot of fun. Now, I elected to use the Wolfgang tonight as opposed to the Les Paul, two different guitars completely, because I figured I was going to be doing a lot more Van Halen tonight, or that style. But playing with the Les Paul sounded absolutely phenomenal to me as well, too, and I really should have grabbed it for some of the hard rock stuff. But rest assured, no matter what guitar you're playing, whether it be Stratocasters, Super Strats, Les Pauls, no matter what configuration you have, parts casters, they're going to sound fantastic. Price is right, and I can't say enough good about it. Again, I'm a newbie to it, and I found it was exciting, got into it very, very quickly. So I can't see you having a problem jumping right in as well, too, with your device, whether it be Helix or whatever else, but anything that can take the impulse responses and have a lot of fun with it. Jason Wade said, sounds great. I'll be checking out for sure. Thanks again. No problem. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and I encourage you to check out Nocturnal Butterfly and Ladybug show tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, also Wednesday and Friday as well, too. Check out Infinite Rigs and reach out to them, have any questions, and it's been great. So comment down below. When this video is done tonight, using about 10-15 minutes from now, approx, you should be able to comment on it. Just comment what you thought about the program today. If you're new to IRs, what you'd like to learn about them, whatever the case may be. Only do that if you have a device that takes impulse responses, or if you're getting one right away, maybe even for Christmas or whatever. But if you know you're going to get one, then participate in the contest. We're going to be giving 4 packages away, and we'll funnel your information to Colin next week. We're going to let it run till Friday, and we'll call it on Friday, this coming Friday, and there'll be no more guesses, or no more comments, I should say, and we'll pick 4 winners and have them off to you right away. And it looks like Colin might be part of our 12 days, actually will be part of our 12 days of Rockmas celebration coming up starting in December. It's going to be even bigger than last year. So we're lots of things to give away this year. So we can giveaways every day for 12 days, leading right up until Christmas. So we're going to have lots of fun. Jimmy Biter, everybody, Bobby Clipper, Guitar Man 45, Thomas Farrell, Rob F., all these great, awesome people. Thank you so very, very much. And we'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon. And until next time, thank you and cheers.
Hey, you're still here? Eric Jr. here, reminding you to check out our full lineup of quality merch. Available right now in the Broadstash Boutique. Quality products and fast shipping. Visit broadstash.com today.
Video production services for Rock Shop Live are provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for Rock Shop Live are provided by Rode Microphones.